I don't feel I have other like chance except of volunteering right now, except of be involved as much as I can. I need to be more involved because this is about my safety and safety of my family. It depends on small people like me, like Elena, like you, like there's no one else who can help us. This is only us who can help ourselves. I saw that soldiers so exhausted. They need some relief. They need music. They just need to feel themselves human beings, not the weapons of killing Russians. Not to think about death every day. Not to think about the effective way of killing Russians every day. But just to listen to the music. All our thoughts or our emotions are deeply into fighting and to protecting ourselves.
Ever wonder what it's like to live in a war zone and to resist and as a civilian take part in the resistance? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wild East. We bring you another interview this week with our own Les Yakymchuk. Now, if you've been watching our channel, you'll know that every week David Shoup is bringing you the news updates from here in Kyiv. But more and more, we'll be bringing you interviews with different interesting individuals to help fill out your understanding of what it's like to live here in Ukraine during the war. Now, at the Wild East, a big reason why we created this channel is to help fundraise for Ukrainian defenders. And specifically, we do that through the organization UAFirstAid. So that's why we wanted to do this interview with Leszek today, because he's one of the founders of this organization. So we're going to understand what they do, how they do it, how you can help, and more of the details and background of the situation. So, Leszek, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Benya.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. Fine. How are you?
Yeah, surviving?
Surviving, yeah.
Well, Les, you've been interviewed by the New York Times. You've been in Time Magazine. You were most recently featured in The Nation. Your organization, UAFirstAid, has been featured, in a lot of different press over the last 3 years. But not everyone who is watching our show knows everything about you and has read these interviews. So I want to cover some of the basics today, and then we'll get into some other interesting details because you're a musician. You don't just volunteer all the time, so we'll get there. But I really want to start, when the Russians invaded in February 2022, where were you and what did you do?
Yeah, great question. 2022, I was in US, actually. I was in Ohio State. I was studying and I was a teacher assistant in Ohio University, Athens, Ohio. And I was there for a 3 years program, master program. But when all this started, it was really sudden, and me and my girlfriend Elena, we decided to come back to Ukraine because our parents were here, and we were kind of really we didn't know what to do. It was really scary period. We didn't believe that it's happening right now,
Yeah.
and everything happens really sudden, and we had to move fast, and we decided to leave everything behind and go to Ukraine, come back to Ukraine. When in the beginning we thought that everything will be not that long, that it's already going right now.
Right.
So we thought it's gonna be like months or something. It's small conflict. We'll help our parents to come back to our apartments. We even didn't like close the. We still were renting the apartment after we came back. So we were hoping we'll come back, but it appeared that everything is it's really deep right now, and I don't know how it's gonna. Now it's already for the fourth year, and we did a lot of volunteers job in Ukraine. We already helped a lot of people here, and yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what happened.
So we'll get into that. I remember you posted a video recently, which was the video of you and Olena crossing the border back into Ukraine. Was that in February or March 22?
It was March. It was like 1st of March,
Okay.
like or 26th of something of February.
Right. It's very, very soon after the invasion began, and
Yeah.
within a week or so, you were here. And I had not seen that video before, and I could tell when you posted it, there was, like, some emotion there. Like, what does that video feel like for you to watch now?
This is the moment we are crossing the border, and there's no people that going with us to Ukraine, but there's like a line of cars going away from Ukraine, out of
Yes,
the
you
Ukraine,
see all these people leaving,
leaving
and
Ukraine,
there's no one coming in.
and no one coming in, like totally no cars, and we are the only car that going in, and well, it was a moment when I thought like this is it. I mean, there's no coming back for me. There's no road back because I'm male, so I kind of I have to be here in Ukraine, and I can't leave Ukraine till the war over, till the
Martial law.
martial law.
Mhm.
So so yeah, and I didn't leave Ukraine until that time.
Right, so you were aware at the time. I mean, it
I was
it felt heavy in some way.
I was aware, and that's why I was filming, because this is like the last time I can, like, return back or say I don't want to go there. But well, decision was easy, and I kind of had this hesitation in my mind, but it was not critical. I mean, I was okay, and I don't feel disappointed now. Even after this years, and my studying already abandoned, everything is in US is abandoned. I still don't feel disappointed in my decision, because here I found friends. I found a lot of I did a lot of good things that is hitting my heart, and I feel like I'm like with my tribe here.
Yeah.
So it's more calm to be here than to be somewhere else.
So, you and Olena come into the country, you return to Kyiv, you check on your families. How do you get from that moment to running a very successful tactical medical organization?
Well, at the beginning, we decided we will not come back to Ukraine without anything, just empty-handed. So we were calling to our friends in Kiev and asking what they need, and they said they need tactical medicine for soldiers, IFAKs, tourniquets, and all such stuff. So we did. We asked friends in US, so they could help us with these supplies, and they did. They brought a lot of things to our apartment. We packed all that in a huge bag, and we delivered it to Ukraine immediately. And I made a post that we are in Kiev and we kind of want to help with everything. And people start texting us, "Oh, you guys, you have a tourniquet. We need a tourniquet in our formation." Then we started to, well, we just gave all that stuff in one day because it was not much,
Yeah.
and they needed it a lot, and suddenly we understood that they need a lot of supplies, much more that we brought. So we decided to continue. So we decided to start fundraising money. People were donating very well that time, and we starting use that money effectively or on buying anything needed for soldiers.
Mhm.
It was basically everything at the beginning, but then we decided to focus only on tactical medicine because it's understandable. It's for saving lives,
Yeah.
which is the most valuable thing we have in Ukraine. So decided to focus on this, and for these years, we already growed in the organization. We have kind of 20 volunteers in organization right now. They are all work without payment because they want to be involved. And we already fundraised more than $1 million. I think it's 1,500,000 dollars for army, for tactical medicine, even like vehicles, evacuation vehicles. Now this is our focus this year,
Mhm.
and yeah, IFAKs, tourniquets, blood transfusion kits, medical bags, huge bags for paramedics, and anything like this, everything like this. So this is included in this huge amount of money.
And how do you define tactical medicine? Not everyone knows exactly, I think.
So this is supplies that can help save life. So you're not like curing the person, you just need to save life. 90% of this activity, it's about stop bleeding. So because the human body is really vulnerable, and it can be if you have a critical injury or critical bleeding, you can die in a matter of minutes. And it is like, actually it's 2 minutes for you to help yourself and help a person before the person will bleed out. That's why you need supplies, you need tourniquets, you need bandages to stop this bleeding in the body. More than 90% of all injuries, of all death that you have in Ukraine, they are from bleeding, from critical bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
To stop bleeding, you need items such as tourniquets and bandages, which we have in our IFAC, individual first aid kit.
Can we see one of those?
So it looks like this, and it's kind of small bag with bandage, with a tourniquet.
Can I see the tourniquet?
Yeah, sure. And some other stuff is like compressed gauze, is NPA. This is a tube for help you to breathe, and such things. But mostly it is helping you to stop the bleeding. Stop bleeding on the person. So it is for one person only. So we need a lot of such IFACs for each soldier in Ukraine. But the problem is that when all this started, we had more than 1 million soldiers in our army. Everyone was mobilizing very, very quickly, and our government was not able to supply all these people with enough equipment. So they didn't have enough IFACs and tourniquets. You need one IFAC for each individual, and 4 tourniquets for each person. So it's a lot of things, like 4 million tourniquets, and even if we could have them, the government could have them, the logistical problem, the way of how it, like the bureaucracy over this whole process was too slow, and people were waiting for their IFAC and the tourniquets for months
Mm-hmm.
during being in a battles.
Yeah.
So that's why we were important.
Okay. So you helped fill this need.
Yeah.
But this need continues.
Unfortunately, because we are still mobilizing people, people are dying, people are getting injured, people's IFAC or items are being burned, or
Get used. Yeah.
get used.
Mhm.
So it is like constant supplies that need to be filled, and you never know what exactly can happen in the front and why they need this. But well, for now, to be honest, like in 2025, the need of such items are not that big that it was in 2022. But still, like, if some parts of formation needed, and some logistical problems to still exist, and we don't want this to happen, because this is human lives. This is nothing to
Right.
joke about.
But you mentioned that you made a shift towards evacuation vehicles.
Yeah, this year, well, because of the request of IFACs getting shorter and like not that active, well, we decided to switch to evacuation vehicles, because this is something highly needed on the front. We're talking about like ambulances, just a vehicle, like a basic ambulance, or a van that can be remade inside to work as a filled ambulance, like
Right.
a case evac. That's how we call it.
Okay.
It's a vehicle to d- to deliver, to get the person from the front to the closest medical center, medical facility.
Right.
And
Stabilization point.
stabilization
Okay.
points, yeah. So and this like half an hour is very critical to like to move this person, transport this person uh to this place, and people who work in these cars have to have everything inside, lights, some other equipment to stabilize person. So that's what we are trying to do. And we need it because the drones are really, like, drone attacks are really severe right now. And each day there are a lot of cars are being destroyed on the front. And even like yesterday I've got another request from the formation on Pokrovsk. um their ambulance, their car was destroyed completely and they need another one. So such organization has like ours are trying to cover this need, because, well, government will like fill this gap. They can fill this gap in a year or something.
Yeah, it's just very slow.
It's impossible for them to
Mm-hmm.
work during this
Mm-hmm.
period without the car.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the delivery, because, there's lots of organizations working in Ukraine, but I think not all of them necessarily take the stuff by hand, which I know that you often do. So tell me, what does it look like once you've received some donors' money, you've invested in the item, you put it in a van, and then what happens?
In 2022, we decided to deliver it ourselves, to deliver all this IFACs and tourniquets and all this stuff to the soldiers. We did it with the purpose of like, there's a lot of thing why we doing that. The first, we want to track and we want to see that this stuff is actually gone to the right hands. Um, Also, we want to be there to see their needs and to talk to soldiers personally, because it's really important. Like, well, communication through the phone or through the chat, it's not that, successful in understanding the situation. It's better to see your by your own eyes and to spend some hour or two with the soldier and to understand their need. And because it's very important for volunteer to be in contact, in close contact with the soldiers, and to spend this money effectively, because the worst thing I can imagine is to buy something they don't need, and we just wasted the money people like donated us. We don't want this to
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we are doing it ourselves. And also, like in all armies or in all countries, there are reliable people and not reliable people.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a request from like through the phone, you'd never know who's calling you. So we want to see these people, want to shake their hands. We want to understand that these people are working there. They are not gonna be like selling or doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They be using this stuff and they will come back with other requests if they need it. And that's how we are kind of growing the contacts with particular brigades on the front.
Okay, interesting. So the networking aspect is important too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Any particular individuals or stories that stand out from your experience on the front?
I have a lot of stories from the front. Well, a lot of things to remember, less thing to talk about, But well, we have some contacts with the Kraken Special Force. We have some contacts with 93rd Brigade, with 56th Brigade. This is all the formations that are like fighting on the front most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trying to find people who are in huge need, because they don't have time or ability to go and buy IFAC or something, or go and, I don't know, uh, order it somewhere abroad or something. They are in work. Their work is to fight Russians right now, and they don't have time or money to think about their safety. And that's why we are trying to think about their safety, because they are, well, basically they're thinking about our safety here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so we don't really like to work with people who are not involved in combats yet. So we had such contacts before. People are like still in the process of mobilizations,
Mm.
and they asking for IFACs. It's really important to help them as well.
Yep.
But as we don't have, like, our funds are limited, we need to find something more important. Well, everything is important, but we're still having like exact amount of IFAC we want to give it to soldiers on the front that are fighting right now.
They could be injured
Yeah,
today.
they are a really huge
So,
risk.
yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah, I'm just curious though if there's any particular, you know, words from a soldier that have kind of stuck in your mind and affected how you are working or how you're thinking about your work from any of your recent trips. Maybe we could come back to it if there's nothing that pops up now, but I think people are always interested to hear, you know, the experience and the truth on the front line filtering through, you know,
Hmm.
the words. But we can come back to that.
We can come back to that
Okay.
because I just not
Yeah,
like
no, it's
all the time when I there when I'm on the front line, I'm getting a lot of insights from this place, and it's like um mostly they are telling us how they are tired and how bad is the situation there. Sometimes they are over dramatizing it, but I feel like they want to share it because we need to understand that all these people there, they're just regular people as we are here. Nothing different. They are not soldiers from, from young age. They are just like us. um, they were mobilized, or they decided, like, they volunteered to go to the to and serve on the beginning of the full scale, and they never were born to the war. So, and they living through the huge dramatic events, dying of people around them, all this crazy stuff that's going on there. And it's really hard to keep clear mind for them. That's why sometimes volunteers work not only as a delivery, but also as some kind of uh, therapist even.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not a therapist, but I'm able to listen and to give a feedback, and sometimes for them it's enough to feel better after.
Mhm. And you are often the only civilian contact that they have.
Yeah, imagine you live and you fight and live during like a lot of months, and the only people who surrounds you are soldiers as well, and they have the same experience and they have some problems. But like living in such environment means that you can't go and tell about your problems to other person, because this person having the same experience. So you're not like you do want to tell that, and you want to tell it to the civilians. Well, you have families, but well, like family, you're not gonna tell everything to the family. So you need someone else, like the third party, and this third party is us, mostly volunteers.
Have you experienced from any of your soldier interactions, like, are they annoyed that you're not a soldier, or are they thinking that, like, what are you doing? Why aren't you volunteering?
Oh, it's a good question. And surprisingly, I never heard from anyone of me not serving in army. I'm really afraid that I will have such experience, and sometimes when I go to the front, maybe some soldier will tell me like, "What the hell are you doing here? Like, you should be serving right now." But in opposite, they are really grateful, and I think they are not that. They understand that we are doing that voluntarily. We are not getting paid for this, and we are organizing all the stuff ourselves. Nobody's in charge here. We're just
Mhm.
trying to find money for them, and they really appreciate this work. So most of the time, they are saying this is like we are in a process of war, saying that me and them and we are together in this process, and we are the important part of this process. So this is something that gives me a lot of you know um, uh, strength inside, um, a lot of gratitude. This gratitude is really important for me because I'm doing a lot and I'm spending a lot of time right now. Like as far I go during this war, more time I'm spending on the war, and I feel like war is sucking my like time and emotions and everything from me. So it's really important for me as well to get something as a in return, to understand that my work is important, and grateful, like I'm glad that people um understand this and see this. So yeah.
How how do you, I mean, you and Elena and many other folks that we know here in Kyiv, you're like full-time volunteers effectively. Or at least you have to do some volunteer work every day. But you're also working, you have to make money, you have to pay all the normal expenses. People don't think about this in the West, that the economy continues and all that. I mean, is it just the gratitude from the soldiers that helps you keep going, or like how do you keep going? What is the mental process for you that helps you have energy in these times?
Well, I think I feel like this is a question about motivation, but like I just hate this word motivation. I know that you didn't say it, but I just like I'm I'm not funding anything. I just doing this, and I'm trying not to think too much over this because I don't feel I have other like chance except of volunteering right now, except of be involved as much as I can. Because well, recently I feel like everything is falling apart, and I need to be more involved because this is about my safety and safety of my family. I'm like completely understand that this really affects me, and it will affect me. If we'll be occupied by Russia, I will be killed. 99% chance my family will be killed because of my volunteering. So I don't feel I have another chance of doing something else. I can just like leave volunteering and just go to the normal work and just forget all that and just hope that everything will gone better someday. It's not like
Mhm.
it depends on small people like me, like Elena, like you, like people who are like you guys who I hope will donate for like our cause, and there's no one else who can help us. This is only us who can help ourselves. And I'm glad that most of Ukrainians understand this, like especially when we see what's going on right now in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you said things are falling apart. Is that referring to something specific recently?
Yeah, I'm talking about the late um, well, news on it looks like America will not support us anymore, and I don't feel that they are properly understand what's going on here and properly understand Russians and properly understand that Russia just want to occupy Ukraine. Well, they basically want this. They want to occupy Ukraine, get the resources here, and then keep doing that to other European countries. And I see that world is still trying not to believe in this, and we don't have support from US right now, and I'm not sure that Europe will cover that gap. We just need to understand that we are all alone here and we need to fight, and that's fine, that's okay. It's hard, but um it just a signal for us that we need to be involved more because, well, I think we can do better than we are doing right now.
Has your life been directly impacted in the last few months with all the changes, or?
Yeah, well, my business, I have a business here in Ukraine. It's a communication agency, Leans agency. It also works with NGOs, and we are helping NGOs to communicate their projects. Yeah, and well, it's interesting, but international politics, like global politics, also influenced my company because of canceling the USAID help. Because USAID was funding our NGOs, partners NGOs, and now these NGOs are closing, and our business can close really soon as well because of this issue. So yeah, so I'm kind of we kind of have a problem here because like as I'm volunteering during my volunteers work, I I don't feel I'm covered with funds for my existence. So it can influence also my work as a volunteer because I probably need to find something, some source of money. And because volunteering, like, not giving me anything. So, like, I'm not getting paid from donations.
Mm. Uh, yeah, not much to say. Yeah, it kind of sucks. And this is all. It's been a very rapidly evolving situation these
But
last week.
on the other hand, sometimes people saying that like donations getting lower and people are not that active to um, give money to what we are doing, but it's not true. It's not true. Well, you need to be more creative of involve people in the movement and
Mm-hmm.
donation, making concerts, auctions, etc. Uh, but people still active, and we'll still fundraising, and this is something that gives me the faith and in what we are doing because
Mm-hmm.
when we have a resource we can help more people and more soldiers with what we do. I mean, the only the act of help is already really huge, huge benefit for me, like emotionally. I feel myself really really good when I finally deliver something and I see this grateful people are like really smiling, and they are surprised that they have this, and they are um I remember when we were in Kherson when it was deoccupied several years ago, and we were there with a lot of supplies to civilians, and civilian people were happy to see us, but they were like suspicious, and they were asking us, who asked you to come here, like, yeah, it's probably government who sent you here. It's like, no, it's only like we decided, we gather money in community, everybody was throwing money to so we could buy some stuff for them and deliver it, and here we are. And they didn't believe that. They were like, no, no, you were
Why?
sent by government.
Why do you think they had this in their mind?
Because, well, they are post-Soviet people, and they think that like nobody will do anything willingly if government will not like tell you to do that. So there is no volunteering in USSR. So
Mm.
all people like never believe that like guys are spending their time, their strength, their money to go here and help us. Like, for them it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So but when we explained that, they didn't know what to do. They tried to give something in return. They tried to get some gifts or spend time or give directions or anything, because they are just amazed that something good still exists in this world.
Well, I'm glad that they met you and that you could do that for them. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your experience with the Euromaidan protests. Now, not all the viewers may know about this, so maybe you could explain a tiny bit about, what this was, what your involvement is, and also I want to wrap around to like how that and your experiences there have connected to the current situation.
I think what you need to know about Maidan firstly is it's the beginning of the whole modern conflict with Russia.
Mhm.
If you want to like see where all this modern conflict
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
Russia started, you can like freely say it started from Maidan.
You mean like from the end of the Soviet Union, the new version of
I mean the conflict we have here in Ukraine right now, the
okay.
war.
Yes, the
I think
current
the war
situation.
started
Mhm.
when Maidan happened.
Okay.
2020, 2013, 2014.
Mhm.
What was Maidan? Maidan was basically a protest, a huge protest. We had a president Yanukovych, and he was pro-Russian. He declared that he will not like have a course to join Europe, EU. He wants to join some sort of EU but from Russia side. So we kind of felt that this is not Ukrainian way. We are democratic European country. We don't want to be part of Russian anything. So, but that's what him and his team was trying to do. And he was really pro-Russian. He was like a Russian puppet, actually. So we start protesting. It was like at the beginning, it was a small protest, like several hundred people, but like Yanukovych and his party answered to this by beating students on the Maidan. I wasn't there, but there was a lot of people there during this, like beating and killing some of the students there. I was on my way to Ukraine. I was coming back from Lithuania.
Lithuania. Mhm.
Yeah. But this event, this cruelty, was like a catalyzer for Ukrainians to gather around on our main square we call Maidan. This is basically our main square in
Mhm.
Kiev.
Mhm.
So on the second day after this event, we had like 1 million people there. It was like literally 1 million people. It was a lot of people. Everybody was there because we don't want to accept such behavior from our government. And after we came there, we didn't feel that it influenced anything. Like we came there, we just shouted a lot of bad things on Yanukovych and what's next. So most of these people stayed on Maidan. So it's kind of a tradition already. I think it's tradition starting from the very very long ancient times when like people uh, back there, it's peasants, have right to protest, right to protest in their way. So we had this right, and we start protesting 24/7. Like we being on Maidan, we started like living there. Some people came from other places all around the country and like make the camp on this place, and
Okay.
it was a huge camp.
People are
Just
sleeping there
sleeping there. Well, sometimes they were sleeping in some places, but the main goal was just to be there
all the time.
all the time. Someone needs to be there all the time. Like at least 100 people needs to be there because like we want Yanukovych to go. We want to have our European direction, and we want to go to European Union. This is what we need. It is what we want, and we want these people who beat us, the students, to be punished. That's what we need, and when we will achieve this, we will go home. But before that, we'll stay here.
Okay.
And we stayed there for several months. So I was there as a student. I was one of the students who lead a column of students from Kiev Mohil Academy, our university. And like I was one of the leaders of students movement back there. And I was also a musician. I played on a stage. We had a stage, and I was playing during the night, like in 3 a.m., playing like during the frozen winter when your like fingers are,
You still have all your
right.
fingers?
Yeah, yeah. I still have them, but it was really hard to play during the night. But it was really important because, like, you can imagine, like 3 a.m., people are standing on a square, and they know that they need to stand till the next shift will come. So they know that they need to stand for several hours, and they go to the camp or somewhere and sleep and coming back. And really, it was really important to support them during this period and to sing something and to just like, I mean, attract, not attract, but entertain them.
And how were decisions made on the Maidan?
So after Maidan, this is a good question. After Maidan happened, so Maidan, we were protesting for a long time, and finally Yanukovych and his team fled Ukraine. They left Ukraine suddenly, and like suddenly disappeared, and we won. We won this fight. Russia invaded Crimea because they saw what's happening and they felt our weakness and they started invasion and then invaded Crimea. But after all this Maidan situation, um, our law enforcements were start like investigating over all this stuff, and they asked me as a witness to go to the police station and to tell them. So I was a witness, and they were asking me about Maidan, and their question was, who was in charge? Who was in charge of you doing stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no one was in charge. I was like, why? It's impossible, because when you're building something, you have someone in charge because you need to be coordinated. How you were coordinated? I was not coordinating. That's what I said. I mean, when I see the person as like is um dragging something, I don't know, some tires, for example, or I don't know, something like boxes. So they getting boxes from one place to another, and I have time. I just go there and see what they doing. Ask them if they need help. They say yes, and just take the box and just move this box. I don't need to be, I don't need to be coordinated, because the coordination was our own communication between us. And there were a lot of stupid things going on in Maidan, like people were throwing something in policemen's, and someone was like, was not into doing that, and was against fighting. They were for peace protest, but someone was not. But there was a point of Maidan. No one was. There was no one in charge there. Even we had such few some people on the main square giving speeches, like politics were giving speeches. They were like, just visitors.
Yeah.
They were presenting themselves as like the leaders of the movement. But in fact, if they will say, let's go there, like maybe some part of people will go, but it's not it's not obvious that everybody will do that.
Right. But for example, so before Yanukovych fled, there was some sort of offer, right, to the protesters, like there was some kind of negotiation with the protesters, right? How did that occur?
We had three politics. They were like
Politicians.
politicians. Yeah, thanks. Politicians who were like representing Maidan, but they were more like contacts to go there and talk to Yanukovych and then come back and
Okay.
tell us what they found out. But they couldn't, like, tell us what to do. So, like, actually, Maidan wasn't finished after Yanukovych fled. Actually, Maidan was there for another several months, but like there was still people
Yeah.
who was like protesting on something, but not much people. But they thought they're not ready to leave the Maidan. So yeah, that's how it was. It was really chaotic,
But so, I mean, I think this is interesting to me, but I think other people will be interested because we're not often getting to talk to someone who was there and like was sort of part of this. I mean, as you're saying, you weren't making decisions, but for example, you have this politician who talks to Yanukovych, comes back. How does everyone on the Maidan hear from him or her what the conversation was, and then how do you decide what your response was? Like, how did this actually happen? Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I know. It was, I don't know. It was pretty medieval, I think. It's like when politician is coming back and like to the stage and saying like I was talking to Yanukovych something like uh speaker and we were saying this to them and they said this to us and people start shouting. if,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if people start clapping and say yeah,
Right.
like maybe he feels that everything is fine, he can continue. But is at some point we had people are screaming, go out of the stage, like and
Get out of here.
get out of here. And guys that like he keep speaking. You know, he's politician. He's like used to such things,
Yeah.
but it was like he keeps speaking, he finished the speech, but nobody would listen to him. This is the magic of Ukrainians, I think. This is like we are really connected with each other on national, like, you know, feeling. We all things like close to each other. We know what we're thinking about. So, and yeah, so like also there were a lot of different Ukrainians there, but our main goals was still really uniting us. And like no, now when I'm thinking, I don't know how we did it, but it just happened. I don't know.
Uh-huh. But it's essentially this sort of like mob reaction to like
Yeah,
that sounds good or
yeah,
get the
but
hell
yeah,
out of
yeah,
here.
but you know what is Yanukovych was that stupid. He didn't even try to negotiate. He didn't even try to give at least something to the protesters. He just refused and he just got really um violent. He started to beating people, and there was a lot of policemen there. And like sometimes they were surrounding Maidan from all the sides. People, like, you can imagine, like several 100,000 people in one place. And it's like militaries, not militaries, but like policemen were surrounding this area, and they were pushing people with the shields or some
Mm-hmm.
and it was not negotiations. You know, you're saying about maybe they had negotiations. Well, I don't kind of remember something they were trying to do to stop this conflict. They just made it worse and worse all the time.
But I mean, there came a moment where Yanukovych felt he had to flee. I mean, what led to that? I mean, my understanding is it's because protesters were like not backing down from what he was doing.
So yeah, so the protest was not only on a square. So we sometimes we were moving over the city. Sometimes we gone to the our parliament and were protesting there. I don't remember what was the like catalyzer of this. What's actually happened for him to decide to leave? This is a good question because it looks like we were just there for months. And he and his team suddenly understood that we can't be beaten. Like we can't, you can't do anything with us. Like GB just gonna be there. If you wanna rid of us, like if you wanna like stop this, you have to kill all these people. Like, but like impossible.
Well, speaking of killing, I mean, there's the day where the Heavenly Hundred.
Yeah, when Yanukovych left, several, like he had snipers close to Maidan. And when all the protesters heard that Yanukovych left, well,
Oh, this
we
is
saw that on the news
after he left.
after he left. So it was during he left. So
He was leaving.
just he was leaving. So imagine the morning of Maidan. Oh, so yeah, let's think. So before that morning, before he left, during whole night, like all these policemen were trying to beat people on the Maidan. They were throwing like gas grenades, and it was really bad night. I was not sleeping during that night. I was there, and on the next morning, we saw that this policemen were like going like out of the Maidan, so they were leaving Maidan. And people on Maidan, they were, now I kind of feel that it was not illogical, but they were following this uh, policemen's because, well, they were leaving as they were leaving Maidan. We go and take the land, like just go to after
Counter occupation.
counter occupation in Maidan, and we started going after them, and then we heard news that Yanukovych is kind of leaving his place on the helicopters because we saw this on the news. I don't know who did this and like who was a reporter of filming that, but we heard that that they're fleeing in a hurry. They are getting all this stuff. They leave in the country, and we felt this feeling that okay, that's it. We need to push him back, and that's why all these people start going to parliament. And as they go into parliament on Institutska Street, they faced snipers there, like actual snipers with actual bullets that start killing people, that they start shooting them. And I was literally there during this happened. I was one of these people, and it was terrible. It was terrifying to see how like people are just running on the street and they just falling down and nobody is understanding what's going on with this person. She just fell down, and you just go there and just drag this person from the street, and you see this blood everywhere. And we started, like, there was medics there, also volunteers, and we were trying to help these people. People keep pushing, like nobody stopped on this point. You see people falling down, but nobody stopped.
It's hard to communicate the message.
But
what's
but
happening.
they saw it. But
Okay.
they saw they like you're screaming the snipers there, and if people are like start to be careful, like hiding over the trees, but still, like it was more than 100 people died there during this period, and suddenly snipers gone, and all the armed forces gone, everyone gone, like, and we go to that parliament and we saw nothing, like it was just empty place. So, and Yanukovych disappeared. After a while we understood, like, we investigator found out that these snipers were Russian snipers, so killers.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, I don't know. Yanukovych was I don't know. Maybe it was someone like Yanukovych was in charge of these people, or but we know for sure that these snipers were Russians.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
wild. Wild
It was
story.
wild, and when all this all this started. So after these events, Russia invaded Crimea. They invaded eastern Ukraine, and as we didn't have a president, um, we were not able to push him back. And who knows what could happen if they would push further and further. Nobody knows. But they occupied eastern part of Ukraine and Crimea, and we had this weird hybrid war with no open fire during several years. I guess almost 7 years or something. And then the full-scale invasion happened.
So, we've heard about Maidan. Thanks for sharing that intense story. Now, I'm curious because you said that Maidan was really the beginning of the current war, the current conflict. Are there any physical, direct connections for you that link these things? Like in your experiences?
You mean people that I met?
For example. Sure.
Yeah, sure. We had a small council there from students' organizations. Different students' organizations were there, and representatives from each universities. I was a representative of Kiev Mahila University, and we were together deciding what students should do during Maidan. And there I met a lot of friends or colleagues right now, and activists from different organizations. Some of them they are serving in the military. Uh, One of them, it's Michael from 93rd Brigade, and he was there on in this council on our meetings, and it was really huge surprise to meet him when I was on the front. It was sudden. I was there delivering to 93rd. I never
Uh,
thought I will see him
in 2022.
in 2022 because I didn't see him for a while, for 5 years or something.
Okay.
And then I suddenly see this guy, and I don't know where I know him from, where I know him, and suddenly I understood that he's from this Michael from Maidan, and he's there fighting, and yeah, we became huge friends from their period, and I started helping him in his brigade.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I collected a lot of connections um, to the Maidan's people,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a huge networking. As you can imagine, there was a lot of people there on the Maidan. Some of them are not alive already, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a huge networking event that gave us the strength to hold on together, and it kind of gave us a boost to prepare for this war. We were not preparing, obviously, we were not expecting this to happen. I mean, the full scale
Mm-hmm.
war. But we were working together in field of in NGOs on fighting corruptions, human rights, for human rights, and each of us were doing something they know how to do in this field. I was back there. I started my agency, Linza Agency, because I'm a media. I'm good at filming, and
During Maidan, you started it?
I started it right after Maidan
Mm.
because I saw like there's a lot of NGOs appearing after Maidan, and I thought that they need our help to communicate their work better.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears that we were really valuable for all of these organizations. That's how I like kind of deepened my connections to these people during these years, and it's really prepared us to what is happening here, because actually I believe that we were very prepared as a society at the beginning of full scale, because everyone was like really know what to do, and we know all this contacts. Like I have a huge amount of contacts in my Facebook on, or just in my phone, so I know who to call and what to ask and what we can provide. So I think we were prepared, and well, that's how we fight back
Mm-hmm.
Russians in 2022.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious to ask this, because there's a lot of in certain media spheres, there's this idea, and we can all imagine where this came from, but there's an idea that the American State Department had some influence on what happened at Maidan. Is there anything you can remember that would even connect, is some seed of reality there, or is this like madness from out of left field, or because often propaganda there is usually like a seed, right? So is there anything that you remember that could make this make sense? I mean, did you meet an American on
Yeah,
Maidan?
yeah. Well, I met journalists.
Mm-hmm.
Met
Mm-hmm.
journalists. I never met anyone who was in charge or given
Mm-hmm.
money
Yeah.
for anyone.
Or cookies.
Cookies, yeah, yeah. We had this funny story
Yeah.
that like Americans were giving cookies and money, dollars, to Ukrainians to be there on Maidan. It's not true. Completely not true. Like never thought. I don't remember. No one this like were encouraging each other with money.
Yeah.
Like we
Not a
were
part of it.
spending money on something, but it was our money. Or some business owners were spending their own money to buy something, to buy a tent, or to make the stage with acoustics and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like our contacts on a community. So we get all this stuff by ourselves. This is not paid, and we didn't buy it, and nobody was giving money to us. Well, I think that the embassies were sending us some humanitarian help, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So some, I don't know, food or water
Mm-hmm.
or heating systems.
Mm-hmm. But
But
this is
that's it.
multiple embassies also, not
Yeah, but it's it. It's just giving you the water bottles, and you can do whatever you want with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it was an influence.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would tell me what to do on Maidan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay. We've spent a lot of time there, so I want to move on to our last topic. Now, I'm obviously familiar that you take music to the front lines because I've helped you do it, but I would love to hear where this idea of taking a guitar with you on your delivery trips to Eastern Ukraine, where did that idea come from? And tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, I remember first time we were together on the front, like before I was going myself or with my team, but when you and your friend Brad came to Ukraine first time, we decided to go to the front, but this time you brought guitars. And like at the beginning, I was kind of, I was not believing in this idea. I thought it's not going to be something that is important, because people need supplies there. They are working there. They don't have time for music or any entertainment. But after that trip, um, I like changed my mind completely. I saw that soldiers so exhausted. They need some relief. They need music. They just need to um, to feel themselves human beings, not the weapons of killing Russians, not to think about death every day, not to think about the effective way of killing Russians every
Mhm,
day,
mhm.
but just to listen to the music and live music, not the music in their headphones, or but just like music that there, and people who are sharing their music with them without asking anything like money or something, so they just can relax at
Yeah.
least for an hour.
So I actually misremembered because I was thinking that you had maybe
I
done
didn't.
this once before on your own, but that's not true.
Um. Well, yeah. Well, you're right. I was. Yeah. Yeah. Probably. Probably I was with the guitar. Yes, I was.
I'm pretty sure.
For once, I just took a guitar with me, just a chance, and I met several soldiers, and we played during the night, and then like I was in their place, and it was pretty scary because it was like bombs during the night, but I was playing to them, and they were really glad and happy to see me with the guitar there. And after me playing them, you playing them, they were like keep asking us to come again without any supplies, just to come by, just play us more music. And that's how we started to, bringing music to the front.
Mhm.
So we were bringing supplies, but also we were traveling with the guitars with us and playing to the random soldiers. Sometimes it was like a huge group of soldiers, sometimes it was just 3 people, but it always worth it to play, because they are, I already told it. I mean, they are really glad all the time. I never thought a soldier who was like, why you playing? We don't need this. We have work to do. Never.
Yeah.
Like they were always grateful, always. They sometimes they are really deep into their thoughts, but I see how music is helping them to like to live through the feelings they have. Sometimes they start crying during music, our performance. um, Sometimes they just leave the performance because they can't handle the emotions that they have, and that's all fine. It is all fine, and I feel that we need to keep doing this. Um, I don't have, I don't feel I have a resource right now, but I still feel we need to keep doing that.
Yeah. Now, last year you created, wrote, produced, recorded an album, Dla Kohoce Muzyka.
Hmm.
Why don't you tell everyone, what is the meaning of that title and how did you decide that this was the time to create an album and what can people expect to hear there?
So this the title translate as who needs this music, or who
Mhm.
even needs this music.
Mhm.
It was my, well, it's not commercial album, like, I want to get money from it or something. It was just a music that I was trying to create to express myself and to express feelings that accumulated in me during this time. So it's huge. It's like more than 60 minutes.
Yep. It's a big one.
It's a big one. Probably it's 2 albums,
Mm-hmm.
but so I decided to spend some time on that because I kind of feel it helps my head to move forward. So I was producing it during the year myself because, well, I don't have time and money to spend on the producers and engineers. So it was my hobby to do that during the year. Yeah, I finished it in the end of the last year and released it. And well, this album very personal. Um, and it just if you kind of want to understand me in deeper way, not all like I can't express myself fully in words. So music and this album particularly is the way for me to express my feelings in whole, uh, in everything I have to say.
Sure. Could you tell us a little bit about, I mean, how does that title tie all these songs together? And I mean, what is the content? It's all in Ukrainian, but what is kind of the general, what is the stuff you're wrestling with in this album?
Everyone busy with the war. Nobody needs music.
Mhm.
Who needs this album? Who needs this
Mhm.
music? Who needs
Mhm.
art anyway? I mean, we are all our thoughts or our emotions are deeply into fighting and to protecting ourselves, and nobody has time for art anymore. And as soon I like far I live, far I see that like everyone is so busy with conflicts with each other, with fighting each other, and or getting money from each other, or like um selling music as a musicians. So they are not already musicians, they are just um producers. They produced content, and they selling the content, they get money from that content.
Mhm.
I don't feel a lot of honesty in this
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
So this album is because about this, about the feeling that I don't feel that no one, like I don't feel anyone needs music anymore. Like real music, it's just person who is making something from it, from his heart. And I didn't believe that much people will listen to that album. And what's actually happened, like not much people listen because there's so much artist and music and stuff going on in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, news, media. Like it's overwhelming, and it's really hard to find honesty and to just get it honesty from the art piece and just to enjoy it. So um yeah, so this album is like who even needs this, who even needs this music I'm doing here. It's like in conversation with myself.
Yeah, just kind of like
Yeah,
self-criticism almost. Yeah.
self-criticism maybe.
So if people are interested to hear this album, which is coming from your experiences, what would be maybe a first song on the album that we could direct them to listen to? What would be your recommendation?
It's the first song in the album.
Well, that's
It's
convenient.
it's convenient because, well, I was trying to put them in the right order. So
Okay.
yeah, so it calls "Тримаєш небо." It means holding sky. Uh,
You are holding
you
this guy.
No, no, not you, but he who holds the sky,
Okay.
maybe. So it's a song basically about our anti-air
Uh-huh. The
systems and people who work in air defense systems. Yes, right,
okay.
air defense system.
Which we are very thankful to.
Yeah. So I'm starting that album of grateful, like of thanking, to
Uh-huh.
being grateful to the showing my gratitude to people who work there and who are like holding sky for us, basically.
Wow. Wow. So check it out. Dla koho ця музика. We'll have all the links in the show notes in the description here. It's a beautiful album. Takes you to a lot of different places. It's a mixture of electronic and acoustic sounds, and Les poured a lot of his soul into this piece, so I highly recommend you check it out. With just a couple more quick questions before we wrap this up, because this has been already quite epic. Just a little bit of, recent news. We just heard last night, um, not to date this interview, but we just heard last night that there will be a ceasefire agreement of sorts. What is your reaction to what theoretically has been agreed to in the Black Sea and with energy?
Yeah, to be honest, like parts of me are really hopeful that we gonna have all this over. But this is a small part because I'm really suspicious about everything is happening, and I mean all this ceasefire agreements, peace talks. I don't believe it's gonna happen. I don't believe we're gonna have this ceasefire. I just feel that Russia is tricking everybody. Is like just they are um lying to everyone in this process, and we just being tricked, and we are not gaining anything. So uh recent agreements are not giving Ukraine anything,
Right.
what I see.
I mean, do you think Zelensky is right to play along with it for now to just see what happens?
Unfortunately, I feel like unfortunately he doesn't have any other chance to because if he will fail and he will show that we are not agree with anything, like Trump will give more to Russians.
Yeah. So we're
We
backed in a corner for now.
but still, so at least we can get something from this process, because I see how Trump is trying to, to give Russia as much as he can give to Russia, so Russia can, I don't know, like stay calm, but they will not. This is the point. They would just get everything that Trump is giving, like stop sanctions, territories that they are negotiating right now, like nuclear plants and everything that, and he will give nothing in return. He would just maybe they're gonna be a ceasefire for some several days or months, but then they start invading Ukraine again. And what's gonna happen? I think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, Les, thank you so much for sharing with me and sharing with the audience a lot of the details and background so that they can understand what UAFirstAid is all about and also the Wild East. And just so you know, the Wild East is what people call the eastern part of Ukraine, and that's where the name came from our delivery trips to the east. So it's all tied together. And hopefully some of you will feel motivated. There's already been a lot of donations from these videos, but please, if you can, send something, anything to the UAFirstAid group, and we will help see it to the front ourselves. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, please write in the comments, and maybe we could do another update episode in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe. Lessig, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
This is Benjamin Stewart with the Wild East.